The last letter. Emma was only 24 years old when life began to fall apart in ways she had never imagined. She had always believed that kindness would be enough to carry her through every storm. She smiled at strangers, helped her neighbors, and loved her family with all her heart. Everyone who knew her believed she would have a happy ending. But life had written a different story. Emma lived in a small town where every morning began with birds singing outside her window. She worked in a quiet bookstore, surrounded by old novels and the comforting smell of paper. Books became her closest friends because they never judged her and never left. One rainy afternoon, a young man named Daniel walked into the bookstore. He was looking for a novel his late mother used to read. Emma helped him find it, and they spent almost an hour talking about books, dreams, and life. That unexpected meeting changed everything. Over the next few months, they became inseparable. They walked through parks, watched sunsets, laughed at silly jokes, and dreamed about traveling the world together. Daniel often told Emma, "No matter what happens, I will always stay by your side." Emma believed every word. A year later, Daniel proposed to her beneath a tree where they had shared their very first picnic. Tears filled Emma's eyes as she whispered, "Yes." They began planning a simple wedding. They didn't care about expensive decorations or luxurious venues. They only wanted a life filled with love. But happiness can disappear without warning. One evening, Emma received a phone call from the hospital. Her father had suffered a severe heart attack. She rushed there immediately. For weeks she stayed beside his hospital bed, sleeping on uncomfortable chairs and praying every night. Daniel visited her at first, bringing coffee and flowers. Then the visits became less frequent. Soon, they stopped completely. Emma tried calling him. No answer. She sent messages. No reply. Days turned into weeks. Finally, Daniel sent a short message. "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore." That was all. No explanation. No goodbye. No chance to ask why. Emma stared at the screen until her tears blurred every word. Her heart broke in complete silence. Not long after, her father passed away peacefully. Emma buried two people that year. One in a cemetery, the other inside her heart. She quit her job because every corner of the bookstore reminded her of Daniel. Every book they had discussed became another painful memory. Months passed. She barely smiled. She barely spoke. The cheerful girl everyone once knew slowly disappeared. One winter evening, while cleaning her father's old room, she discovered a dusty wooden box. Inside were dozens of letters her father had written to her throughout her childhood. The last envelope had her name written in shaky handwriting. She carefully opened it. The letter read, "My dear Emma, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't stay with you as long as I wanted. I know life will hurt you someday because it hurts everyone. People will leave, dreams will break, you will cry more than you think is possible. But never believe that pain is the end of your story. Your kindness is your greatest strength. Don't let this world steal it from you." Emma cried for hours. Not because the words hurt. Because they healed. Slowly, she began rebuilding her life. She returned to the bookstore. She smiled at customers again. She volunteered at a local library, reading stories to children every weekend. Years passed. One afternoon, an elderly woman entered the bookstore carrying a familiar novel. She introduced herself. "My name is Margaret." Emma froze. Margaret was Daniel's mother. The woman looked at Emma with tears in her eyes. "I've wanted to meet you for years." Emma didn't know what to say. Margaret explained everything. Daniel had been diagnosed with an aggressive illness shortly after Emma's father became sick. Doctors told him he had very little time. He didn't want Emma to spend her youth watching him slowly fade away. So he chose to leave without telling her the truth. "He loved you until his final breath," Margaret whispered. She handed Emma a small envelope. "It's from Daniel." Emma's hands trembled. She opened the letter. "My beautiful Emma, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. I'm sorry for becoming the villain in your story. Leaving you was the hardest decision I ever made. I knew if I stayed, you would sacrifice your dreams to take care of me. You deserved a future, not endless hospital rooms. Please don't hate me. Please fall in love again. Please keep smiling. And every time you see the sunset, remember that somewhere, somehow, I am grateful that I met you. You were my greatest blessing. Forever yours, Daniel." Emma couldn't stop crying. For years she had believed she wasn't enough. Now she realized she had been loved more deeply than she had ever known. That evening, she walked to the hill where they had watched countless sunsets together. The sky glowed with shades of orange, pink, and gold. For the first time in many years, she smiled through her tears. Love doesn't always stay forever. Sometimes it leaves behind memories instead. Those memories become the quiet light that helps us find our way through the darkest nights. Emma never forgot Daniel. She never forgot her father. But she also never forgot the promise she silently made while holding their letters. To keep living, to keep loving, to keep believing that even after the deepest heartbreak, hope can still find its way back. Because sometimes the saddest stories don't end with despair. They end with the courage to begin again.